Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill is the new main event of UFC Vegas 73 this weekend, and today I'm going to break down and give you my prediction for this main event. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let's break down this fight. So I do want to start with the tail of the tape right here. Of course, we have Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill, as I just mentioned. The betting side of it right now, and this is what I've seen all week, is Mackenzie Dern is a slight favorite, and it seems like if you go talk to anybody who you think is going to win the fight, they kind of say, you know what, it might be a close fight, but I feel like most people are leaning towards the side of Dern. Looking at it, they're both in the strawweight division. They have a history of being in the strawweight division. Mackenzie Dern is 1 inch taller, and Angela Hill has a 1.5 inch reach advantage, which I actually think might matter, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, because Mackenzie Dern isn't particularly the great striker, you know what I mean? So I feel like Angela Hill, even just having an insignificant reach advantage, I think that actually might play a little bit of difference. If you want to take a look at the last fights, Mackenzie Dern coming off of loss against Jan Yanan, and now, okay, Jan has been looking great so far. I'm convinced he's the real deal, so there's no shame in losing. Before that, we saw Tisha Torres with a win, and then a loss of Marina Rodriguez. Now, if you were to take a look at these two losses, I think they have aged extremely well. Angela Hill, on the other hand, okay, on a skid. She was on a skid, and the losses were okay. And I was one of those people who were thinking, okay, Angela Hill is a gatekeeper of the division, and I thought she was, for a lack of a better word, I can't really think of a different word to use, where I think she is getting up there and she's become quite useless in the division. You know what I mean? I wasn't high on Angela Hill at all, but however, she came back in these two fights, Emily Ducote versus Lupa Gonidez, and it's funny that these two are actually fighting each other. She looked like a completely reinvented fighter. And one more thing that I didn't mention, I don't know why I didn't mention it, is 38 years old here versus 30 years old. And this is something that we're going to touch on a little bit. To bring you back to what I was saying, though, Angela Hill, in her past two fights, and before that, I was not high on her one bit. I was like, okay, this girl sucks. She's 15-12 at this point. And before those two wins, she was 13 and 12. I was like, this girl is not a good fighter. But these last two performances, and again, I don't mean to be disrespectful, so my apologies. These last two performances, I was sitting and watching Angela Hill. The striking that she put on and the IQ that she put on, the MMA IQ, I was legitimately so impressed with what I've seen from her. And this is going to carry into my prediction for this fight. She looked like she was just in a wonderful flow state, and she looked great in her last two fights. And you know what? The opponents, they could get to be more quality. The point is, I think she is on an absolute roll right now. I really, really liked her in her last two fights. The only thing that's really stopping me here is Angela Hill at this point is 38 years old. Is she going to continue momentum? 38 years old is very, very old for MMA. I'm not so confident that she can continue the role. You know what I mean? On top of that, this is WMMA, and we've seen crazy things happen in WMMA. Mackenzie Dern could very well pull off this win. No matter how confident I am in Angela Hill, I wouldn't be not surprised if she lost. I do also want to talk about Mackenzie Dern for a second, though, because we all know the story of Mackenzie Dern if you've been following MMA for a little while. Mackenzie Dern is a fantastic grappler. You could argue that she is the greatest jiu-jitsu practitioner in the strawweight division. She is a huge threat on the ground, but the problem with Mackenzie Dern, and this has been the problem her entire career, is she has no way of getting it to the ground. She has a better chance of Angela Hill getting this fight to the ground than Mackenzie Dern does shooting takedowns. That's her problem. She is such a fantastic grappler, and she is such a threat on the floor, but her wrestling is just so bad. You've seen her go for takedowns, and they're just not proper. It seems like they're half-assed, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? She has problems getting to the ground, and her striking is just okay. But the problem is, once we get into these striking exchanges, Mackenzie Dern does throw a little bit wild. Of course, she has technique behind it, but we see her come in with these weird little flurries, and it just doesn't look crisp. And Angela Hill, on the other hand, striking is she is an all-round fighter, but striking is where she's going to shine. And I feel like if these two get into a striking battle, Angela Hill's just going to completely outclass her. She has more tools to use. I can see Mackenzie Dern coming in with a few shots, and Angela Hill, while getting caught a little bit, I see her getting the better of every single exchange that they have. And Mackenzie Dern, I have a problem seeing her taking down Angela Hill because she can't take down anybody. It'd be surprising if Mackenzie Dern got a takedown. You know, that's the problem with Mackenzie Dern. If she just worked on her wrestling, man, I'm sure she's working on it, but you need to put a little bit more into it. You know what I mean? You can't do the Darren Till route of like training grappling. You gotta do something different. Just have a double leg in your arsenal. Then you would have no problem getting these fights to the ground. You're so much better than the strawweight division at grappling. I just don't see this fight actually going to the ground. I see Angela Hill outstriking her and winning an incredible decision. But the problem with this is there's one big problem. I broke down this fight on my last full card breakdown video for last week because, again, this fight was supposed to be the co-main event of last week. I didn't end up uploading that because I scratched it right before I uploaded it because the fight obviously got moved to this main event. It was supposed to be a 3-rounder because it was supposed to be a co-main event. Now, this is a 5-round fight. And I'm not overly confident on Angela Hill anymore because I can't expect a 38-year-old fighter to be prepared for a 5-round fight. 5-round fights take it out of a lot of people. Can she go 5 rounds? Maybe. Percussion, I haven't seen any cardio issues recently from Angela Hill. But I can't expect a short notice 38-year-old to be prepared for a 5-round fight. I think it's much more likely that a fighter in her prime, 30 years old, in Mackenzie Dern, is more prepared for a 5-round fight on short notice. The cardio has never really been an issue for Angela Hill. But again, just because it's short notice specifically is why I really worry about it. And I have a big problem with, I have a big rule with myself where I'm like, I never bet on women's MMA, but I was prepared to almost pull the trigger and bet on Angela Hill. I just see no way Mackenzie Dern getting it to the ground and Angela Hill just outstriking her the whole time. Now that there's 2 extra rounds, that's 2 extra rounds for Mackenzie Dern to continue pushing a pace that Angela Hill might not be able to keep up with. And again, Mackenzie Dern might not be ready for the 5 rounds. She might not be, but it's more likely that she is than she isn't. That gives 10 extra minutes for Angela Hill to perhaps make a mistake. That gives 10 extra minutes for Angela Hill to get tired. That makes 10 extra minutes for Angela Hill to have a sloppy exchange, and Mackenzie Dern might be able to get a hold of her in a clinch, and maybe because Angela Hill could get tired, that could lead to a takedown for Mackenzie Dern, and because Angela Hill would be so tired, I could see her setting up a submission. If this was a 3-rounder, this was a no-brainer for me, Angela Hill, but I do not like it, and again, like I mentioned, I cannot expect a 38-year-old Angela Hill to be prepared for a short notice 5-round fight. That's why I'm like, ooh, I don't know about this pick. It's a toughie. I think Angela Hill is the better fighter. Besides the grappling, but overall, I think she's better. And like I said, she's been on a roll. I have been so impressed with what she has done in her last 2 fights. I still believe that she will be on that roll. I believe she will look very strong at the beginning of the fight. And I believe she will do enough to win this fight. That's just a big question I have. Is the fight is a 5-round short notice fight. That's my only issue. Other than that, I believe this will be a decision on the end of Angela Hill, and she will continue the roll and look even better than she has in her last 2 fights because Mackenzie Dern doesn't have the striking to the level of Angela Hill, and don't be fooled by her record because she looks like she is very, very improved, Angela Hill. I don't believe Mackenzie Dern will get a takedown. I believe that she will keep trying, and she'll find herself in a striking match that she won't be able to keep up with. Angela Hill will keep on the outside, use all of her 8 tools, and then get a decision win. That is my official prediction. I have Angela Hill to win this fight by decision, but I'd love to know what you guys think. If you're interested in the entire full card, I have a video on screen right now for you, plus another video that is best suited for you. Go check out the full card breakdown and prediction, guys. We go deep into every single fight. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you there. Take care.